Another college basketball live stream. We are to the semifinals of Arch Madness, the Missouri Valley Conference Tournament, beginning with the Drake Bulldogs and the UIC Flames. That semifinal gets underway here in just a few minutes, which we'll preview in just a moment. First of all, let's pray. Lord Jesus, thank you for this day. Thank you for doing your will upon us, Lord, and please protect everyone involved in this game today, Lord, and please look over all the fans, coaches, players, and please continue to look over us as well, Lord, and continue to do your will among all of us, as we ask and pray this in your mighty name. Amen. All right, here we go. Drake and UIC, the upset-minded Drake Bulldogs, who knocked off the regular season champion Belmont Bruins in yesterday's first quarterfinal. They have an 11-game Arch Madness winning streak going on right now, as they have won 3 consecutive tournament titles and are just 2 wins away from making it 4 consecutive tournament titles. They take on the UIC Flames. This is as far as UIC has made it since they have been in the Missouri Valley Conference. They got their second all-time Missouri Valley tournament win yesterday with their win over Murray State. The regular season meetings between these two teams, and the 2 meetings, the game in Chicago was won by the Flames 74-67, and the Flames also won up in Des Moines 80-70. So UIC is looking for the season sweep over the Drake Bulldogs, and Drake looks to avoid that happening and go back to the Arch Madness championship game once again. Let's look at the starting lineups for this game. First, for the Bulldogs of Drake, coming in with a record of 14-19. They go up front with number 8, Oku Federico, 6'9" sophomore out of Finland. Federico on the season is averaging 8.7 points per contest. 4-guard lineup for Drake. At 1 guard, number 1, Owen Larson. Larson is a 6'1" sophomore out of Esterville, Iowa. Larson's second leading scorer on this Drake team at 9.9 points per game. Another guard, is number 3, Jalen Quinn. Boy, what a tournament he's had these first 2 games. Quinn, a 6'3" senior out of Tuscola, Illinois. Quinn, the leading scorer on this Bulldogs team, 19.8 points per contest. Another guard for Drake is number 10, Eli Shetler. Shetler, a 6'6" sophomore out of Wichita, Kansas. Shetler averaging 9.1 points per game. And the other guard for Drake is number 22, Jay-Sean Thomas. Thomas, a 6'3" senior out of Aurora, Illinois. Thomas on the season, 3rd leading scorer for Drake at 9.1 points per game. And Drake is led by first-year head coach Eric Henderson, coming over from South Dakota State this year to lead the Drake Bulldogs. Starting lineups look this way for the Flames of UIC, coming in at 18-14 on the season, coming off a quarterfinal win over Murray State yesterday. They line up this way. Up front for UIC is number 7, Abdul Momo. Momo on a 6'8" senior out of Carteret, New Jersey. Momo on the season averaging right at 8 points per game. They also go with the 4-guard set. At 1 guard is number 22, Mecky Lowry. Lowry is a 6'7" junior out of Bellwood, Illinois. Lowry on the season averaging 8.2 points per game. Another guard for UIC, number 14, Andy Johnson. Johnson, a 6'6" freshman out of Union, Kentucky. Johnson, 3rd leading scorer on this UIC team, 11.9 points per game. Another guard for UIC, number 5, Rashund Washington Jr. A 6'5" freshman out of Dublin, Georgia. Washington on the season is averaging 8 points per game. And the other guard for UIC, number 2, Elijah Crawford. Crawford, a 6'3" sophomore out of Augusta, Georgia. Crawford, team's leading scorer, 13.5 points per game. And UIC is led by second-year head coach Robert Eason. Has the Flames into the semifinals at Arch Madness for the first time since joining the league, from coming over from the Horizon League a few seasons ago. So again, the lineups look this way. For the Bulldogs, it is Federico up front, guards of Larson, Quinn, Shetler, and Thomas. UIC has Momo up front with the guards of Lowry, Johnson, Washington Jr., and Crawford. Officiating crew for this first semifinal game, Jeff Campbell, Jeff Malham, and Irvin Wilson. Very similar, these two did. They both score just shy of 76 points per game. Difference is Drake allows 75 a game. UIC allows just over 70 a contest. This is Drake's third game in 3 days. They had a first-round win over Southern Illinois before yesterday's quarterfinal round upset over the regular season champions from Belmont. UIC had a first-round bye, I mentioned getting by the 4-seed Murray State yesterday in the quarterfinal round. Winner of this game to take on the winner of the second semifinal between Bradley and Northern Iowa. That game follows 30 minutes or so following this game. We will have later on tonight, we will have our first auto bid. Actually, we're going to have our first auto bid to the NCAA tournament crowned here in just a little bit in the Northeast Conference. The winner of the Wagner Long Island semifinal will actually be the first team to punch their ticket to the NCAA tournament. Reason for that is Mercyhurst defeated Stonehill earlier in the NEC. Mercyhurst is still in that transitional period up from Division II to Division I, so they are ineligible to go to the NCAA tournament in that transition period, which is one of the dumbest rules they have instituted in the NCAA. But so since Mercyhurst cannot go to the NCAA tournament, the NEC will now have to take the NEC runner-up, the NEC, whoever is the other team into the championship game that plays Mercyhurst. So the winner of this Wagner Long Island game will actually be in the NCAA tournament, even if they lose the NEC championship game. So here we go. We are set to go on a Saturday afternoon from downtown St. Louis. UIC looking to make the Arch Madness Championship for the first time. Drake looking to get there for the fourth year in a row. And we are underway. The tip controlled by the Flames. And here we go. Semifinal number one. UIC with the game's first possession. And the turnaround jumper inside the paint for the game's first 2 points. And it is a 2-0 lead for UIC. Basket there for the Flames for Abdul Momo. And now Drake with their first possession. Federico on the outside. Off for a three-pointer, and that's how Drake begins the game with a three from Eli Shetler. And it's 3-2 Bulldogs. UIC up the floor now. Momo draws a double team, but a nice pass inside off the glass and in for two. That is Rashund Washington Jr. with the basket. And the Flames lead 4-3. Second possession for Drake. Here's Federico. Federico with a bounce pass inside to Larson. Larson will back it out and reset. Thomas getting the start today for Drake. He misses the jumper, rebound pulled down by UIC. Three-pointer for Washington, no good. Federico pulls down the Drake rebound. Here's Quinn. He is who's had 2 monster games for the Bulldogs so far in this tournament, and there's going to be a traveling violation against Quinn and the game's first turnover. Bringing it up the timeline are the Flames. Now the drive inside, the turnaround in the paint, around and in as the basket goes down for Elijah Crawford for his first 2. And the Flames are up 6-3. Larson with it now for the Bulldogs, over to Quinn. Quinn finds Jaysean Thomas. Now Federico at the top of the key. Federico lines it off now to Larson. Back to Federico. Quinn will try a triple. That's off the back rim. No. Rebound to UIC. Crawford with it at quarter court for the Flames. And just dribbling and setting the offense. Now comes Johnson for a 3. That is too strong. Rebound pulled down by Larson of the Bulldogs. 3 minutes old here in the first half. Jaysean Thomas finds Jalen Quinn on the outside. Quinn now driving. Quinn gets cut off. Now we'll send it back out to Thomas. Thomas pulls up for a long 2. That'll rim out. Rebound pulled down by UIC. And there's a strip. Crawford lost the basketball. A steal for Drake. And the dish over to Quinn, who missed the bank shot off the glass. Larson with the offensive rebound for the Bulldogs. And Larson will try a 3 and hit it. Owen Larson with a 3-pointer ties this game at 6. Both of Drake's field goals have come from long range. Andy Johnson pull-up jumper just beyond the foul line, up and good. Andy Johnson with his first 2. And is an 8-6 lead for UIC. Larson with it for the Bulldogs. Larson over to Quinn. Quinn will try a 3-pointer. That is no good. Rebound pulled down by the Flames. Elijah Crawford with it. Crawford, nice spin move in the paint. Puts it up with the left hand, but left it short. Rebound pulled down by Shetler of the Bulldogs. Here comes Drake. Jalen Quinn with the ball. Over it goes now to Thomas, so back to Larson. Thomas on the outside, looking for some help, gets it over now to Quinn. Quinn tried to dish it off to Federico, but it goes off his hand out of bounds, and a Drake turnover, which brings us to our first timeout at the 15-13 mark of the opening half. 6-all in semifinal number 1 at Arch Madness, or 8-6 UIC, 15-13 mark of the first half. Drake starting just 2 of their first 7 from the floor today. UIC is 4 for 7 to open the game. Again, one more semifinal to come. 6 seed Northern Iowa, who took it to the 3rd seed Illinois State last night. They will be taking on 2 seed Bradley, who survived a double overtime contest against Valparaiso. That is our matchup in our second semifinal. Championship game coming up 11 o'clock Central, noon Eastern tomorrow for the Arch Madness Championship and NCAA tournament berth. So we will have two bids basically punched today. I told you about the situation in the NEC. And the OVC championship is coming up tonight. That top two seeds prevailed out of there, as it will be Tennessee State and Morehead State for the auto bid out of the OVC. That is coming up later on tonight, 9 o'clock Eastern time for that OVC championship game. In that semifinal game in the NEC, Long Island is leading Wagner 44-40. That game just under 8 minutes to go in the second half. Again, in the NEC, if you missed me talking about it earlier, Mercyhurst defeated Stonehill in the first semifinal. Mercyhurst is ineligible for the NCAA tournament, so that's why that Wagner-Long Island game in the semifinals is for the NCAA bid. Out of the timeout, UIC has the ball. A couple substitutions into the game, which I'll tell you about. Here's a three-pointer that is good for UIC. And that'll give the Flames a 3-point lead as Rashund Washington hits the long-range three ball. 11-6 lead for UIC. Federico off to Quinn. Quinn tries a three. He almost got the bounce, but it's pulled down on the rebound by the Flames, and back they come. Here's Andy Johnson on the outside. Johnson will pull up just right of the foul line. That's short. Rebound pulled down by Drake. And knocked out of bounds by UIC. It will stay Drake ball with 24 on the shot clock and 14:20 to go on the clock in the first half. So it'll be a Drake inbound. Bulldogs trying to get it in. They finally do here to Griffin Goodberry, who checked in at the timeout for Drake. Cross-court pass to Quinn. Quinn drives inside, puts up the floater with the right hand, can't get it to go. Drake, another offensive rebound. Shetler tries a three. That is short. Rebound UIC. Drake just 2 for 10 from the floor. UIC ball with Elijah Crawford dribbling on the Arch Madness logo. Crawford now drives. Crawford to the foul line, gets cut off. Will sends it back outside. And the Flames reset. And now the Flames turn it over as Silverstein tried to get to the cut. And then UIC takes it right back and gets an easy layup with Elijah Crawford. 13-6. This is the largest lead of the game so far for UIC. Drake in a scoring drought, which has now gone over 3 minutes. Drake with another turnover. That's 4 in the first half. Crawford, Johnson, the open three, rounded out. Ball tipped out and into the hands of Griffin Goodberry of Drake. Larson with the ball, finds Goodberry. Goodberry looking to drive and gets fouled. That'll be the first foul of the game on the Flames. They're going to get Elijah Crawford with it. So Drake with the inbound. Get it in here to Isaiah Carr, who's in the game for Drake. Carr lost it momentarily, but able to regroup. Carr has it deflected, and that's another Drake turnover. Silverstein gives it off. Shot rejected, and Drake will knock it out of bounds. It will stay with UIC. Under the basket inbound here for the Flames. Three-pointer on the way. Back rim, no good. By Josiah Hammonds, and a rebound pulled down by Drake. Here's Quinn. Quinn driving with the right hand and lays it in. First 2 points for Jalen Quinn, and that stops the scoring drought for Drake. Flames lead down to 5, 13-8. Here's the UIC offense. Three-pointer in the corner is short by Rashawn Washington, and we've got an over-the-back foul on the Flames. Second foul of the half on UIC. This one goes against Jace Nathaniel. Drake ball as they bring it up the floor. Pull-up jumper in the paint is good. Eli Shetler with that basket for Drake, and it pulls the Bulldogs within 3. I beg your pardon, that was not Shetler, that was Larson, excuse me. UIC trying to get the ball inside, but good defense inside by the Bulldogs, and they get a steal. Goodberry got his hand in to knock the ball away and pick up the steal for Drake. Shetler tries a 3. That's around the rim and off. Rebound pulled down by the Flames. UIC slowing the pace down here. With it on the outside is Beljean. Off to Henderson. Henderson throws it off the official, but UIC keeps it alive here. 4 to shoot, and Silverstein is bumped. First foul of the game on Drake, and that will bring us to the under 12. 13-10, UIC leading Drake. 11 minutes to play, opening half, semifinal number 1. Drake shooting just 4 of 13 here in the early going for 31%. 2 of 7 from 3 at 29%. UIC 6 of 14 from the floor for 43%. Just 1 of 6 from three-point range at 17%. Early rebounds are tied 8 apiece. Few turnovers here early on. Drake's turned it over 5 times. UIC's turned it over 3. Owen Larson leading the way for Drake right now. He's got 5. Rashawn Washington has 5 for the Flames. Leading scorers on both teams so far. Kobe Butterworth back with me in the live chat. I think you were with me, yesterday. Kobe, good to have you back again. Drake's going to go on a run and win the tourney. You think so, huh? I mean, they obviously have tourney experience. This would 3 Arch Madness titles in a row. Drake seems to know how to turn it on come tournament time. Hard to believe from what we've seen from Drake the first 2 games of this tournament. Hard to believe that they did not win a game the entire month of February. They were riding a 9-game losing streak entering Arch Madness. So following the timeout here, in a 13-10 lead for the Flames, it's going to be UIC ball. Inbound it comes here, out of the timeout to Beljean. Nice pass inside. Turnaround with the right hand is up and good. Mecky Lowry with his first 2 points, and that puts the Flames lead back at 5, 15-10. Here's Quinn on the outside for Drake. Now driving inside, pulls up, and that's an air ball. Rebound pulled down by UIC. That was not a good look by Quinn. Drake's missed 10 of their first 14 shots, and we've got a foul outside here. This one's going to go against Goodberry, I believe, on Drake. Yeah, 10-game March Madness winning streak for Drake. Yeah, that's some kind of impressive. I don't care. 2 free throws here for Ahmad Henderson for UIC. First is up and good. Henderson, an 87% free throw shooter for UIC. And hits them both. And the Flames tie their largest lead of the half at 7, 17-10. We approach the midway point here in the first half. Outside with it is Quinn. Finds Goodberry. Goodberry gets it off to Larson, who will try for 3. That's off the back rim. Rebound pulled down by Lowry of UIC. And back come the Flames. Elijah Crawford with it on the outside. Finds Lowry. Lowry will back it out. Now will drive, but gets cut off. Lowry now looking to drive again. He will spin. He will turn in the paint and get the roll. Mecky Lowry with his second field goal, and UIC now up 9, 19-10. UIC shooting 70% from 2-point range. Doing a lot of their damage inside right now. And now a double team out here. And Drake able to find Goodberry here. Exact bounce pass inside to Goodberry, and that's knocked out of bounds by the Flames. Less than 4 seconds on the shot clock for Drake. Inbound it comes here to Federico. Federico goes off the glass. That's too hard. Rebound pulled down by UIC. They look for a double-digit lead this trip. Lowry with the dribble here at quarter court. Lowry will now drive. Lowry pulls up. Right hand in the paint once again. And Lowry with 6. Timeout, Drake, as the Flames have built an 11-point lead with 8:55 remaining in the first half. Quick start by UIC in this one. Coupled with Drake shooting just 4 for 16 from the floor. So a timeout called here by Drake as UIC builds an 11-point lead. Here come the Bulldogs bringing the ball up. Federico on the outside for the Bulldogs. Off for a three-pointer. That's around and out. Drake's shooting woes continue. Lowry with it here for the Flames. Bounce pass inside, and a layup is good. And that'll make it 23-10 UIC. Federico. Hand off down to Thomas. Thomas back outside, and the Bulldogs work it around. Quinn passed up on the three, pass deflected. Quinn able to save it. Gets it to Federico, who lays it in with the right hand. A big basket for Drake. And it's 23-12 now. Flames with the ball. The shot inside is no good, and Federico comes out with it for Drake. Bulldogs try to get it into single digits, the deficit this trip. Thomas out to Federico, over to Quinn. Quinn drives. Quinn with the right hand. Got it and won. Jalen Quinn with an opportunity for a three-point play after we come out of the under 8 timeouts. Bulldogs on a mini 4-0 run here, trying to make it 5 with the free throw as they have pulled within 9 at 23-14. I'll get you an update on some of these other conference tournament games. Having trouble getting it to pull up here. Okay, well, I'm having trouble getting them to pull up right here, so may have to hold off on that. UIC still shooting well, 53% here in the first half. We've had an upset in the top 25 so far today. Number 4, UConn, goes into Milwaukee and falls to Marquette today, 68-62. That Marquette is not having a good season at all, but they knock off the 4th-ranked UConn Huskies. That may drop UConn from the number 1 seed line. Two bubble teams not having a lot of success today. Virginia Tech squarely on the bubble. They fall at Virginia, 76-72. Missouri, they're probably not a bubble team. They're probably safely in. They could have used this win over Arkansas today, but they fall 88-84 in overtime. A huge bubble game. Well, actually, that is actually going to tip off here in about an hour and a half. Indiana and Ohio State. Ohio State probably a little bit more safe than Indiana is right now, but that's a game that Indiana has to have today in Columbus. Jalen Quinn at the line here to try to complete a three-point play, and he does. 23-15. Drake has scored 5 straight to pull within 8. Here's Crawford. Johnson, lob inside. Federico got a hand on it to knock it away, and Drake comes up with the steal. Thomas with it now. Jaysean Thomas on the drive, gets cut off, sends it back out to Federico, and the Bulldogs will reset. Federico has an open 3. No. Rebound UIC. Boy, Federico was wide open, but couldn't get the 3 to drop. Momo off now to Lowry. Lowry with it now. Driving inside, gets cut off, sends it over now to Washington. 5 on the shot clock for UIC. They're going to have to put up a three-pointer here by Crawford. It's too strong. Rebound offensive for Washington. And Washington will try a three. That's no good. Another offensive rebound for UIC. Third crack at it this possession for the Flames. Momo, cross-court pass. Here's another three try. That's short. And finally, Drake pulls down the rebound, and then it's going to be a foul on UIC. 3 empty shots that trip for the Flames. Momo's going to go out and get a little breather here for UIC. As Owen Larson brings it up across the timeline for Drake. 2 teams that combined just 3 of 19 from three-point range so far. Quinn with it. Quinn gets it off to Larson. Larson drives, sends it back out to Quinn. Quinn on the drive, had it knocked away momentarily. Now we'll put up the floater and score. Jalen Quinn now with 7 for the Bulldogs, and they're on a 7-0 run to pull within 6 here. As the Drake fans come to life here in the first half. Flames needing a basket, and they get the layup. And one. The pass underneath to Washington, who got the layup and a chance for a three-point play. Washington at the line here to try and put UIC back up by 9. And gets the roll. 26-17. UIC up 9. Final 5 minutes, first half. And there's a dunk underneath for Goodberry. He got loose underneath the basket, and there was nobody under there for UIC, and Goodberry got himself a dunk underneath. 26-19 Flames. Elijah Crawford with it. Crawford sends it outside for a wide open three that is too strong, and the rebound is to UIC. Crawford. Johnson finds Washington. Washington up with the left hand, can't get it to go. But he gets fouled, and he will head to the line for 2. Washington with 8 points so far here in the first half for the Flames. First free throw is short. First miss from the line for UIC. Second free throw is good. Washington now has 9. 27-19. UIC's lead is 8. Goodberry outside to Shetler for 3, and he drills it. Eli Shetler with a three-pointer for Drake. That's his first 3 points of the game, and the Bulldogs are within 5, 27-22. Drake's third 3 of the first half. UIC trying to answer with a 3. They cannot, but they get the offensive rebound put back for Jace Nathaniel. with about a 2-1 edge on rebounds for UIC. Federico tries a three. That's good by Federico. 29-25. Flames lead down to 4. Nathaniel with it. Over to Silverstein. Pull-up jumper, Elijah Crawford. That's too strong. Rebound. Again, UIC. But they can't save it this time from going out of bounds. It's going to go over to the Bulldogs. Drake, once down 13 in this game, has battled back to pull this within 4. 29-25. Just over 3 minutes remaining. Opening half, semifinal number 1 at Arch Madness. Drake has brought their shooting percentage up to 42% in this game. UIC's dropped to 44%. Drake 4 of 12 from beyond the arc for 33%. UIC just 1 for 11 in the first half. Finally got the scoreboard to pull up here. That NEC semifinal game that will send either Wagner or Long Island to the NCAA tournament's a tight one, 60-56. Long Island leading Wagner. That is under a minute to go. Second round in the CAA, Drexel all over Northeastern, 51-31 in the second half. Quarterfinal round in the SoCon, Wofford 55-50 over UNC Greensboro. Semifinal in the Big South, Presbyterian 2-point lead over Winthrop, 11 minutes to play. Earlier, High Point punched their ticket to the Big South championship game. High Point defeated UNC Asheville in that other semifinal in the Big South, 75-71. Earlier in the CAA, Campbell knocked out Stony Brook, 96-89. Earlier in the SoCon, East Tennessee State, 83-76 win over the Citadel. Number 1 Duke, number 17 North Carolina, the featured game of the night in college basketball. And we've got the OVC championship game coming up 9 o'clock Eastern time. Top 2 seeds in the OVC. Tennessee State and Morehead State battle it out for the OVC championship and NCAA tournament berth. And here we've got a 4-point game. UIC leading Drake 29-25. 3:16 remaining in the first half. UIC was up 23-10 in this game, but it's been a 15-6 spurt for Drake since that point. And the Bulldogs will inbound here. Both teams have only been called for 4 team fouls in the first half, so both teams with a couple fouls to give. Larson with it on the outside. Off down to Shetler, a deep three-pointer. That is too strong. And UIC pulls down the rebound. That was way back there. That was at the beginning of the Arch Madness logo at midcourt where Shetler shot that. Flames with the ball. This is Johnson. He'll pull up from the foul line and miss it short. UIC with yet another offensive rebound. And a three-pointer is good. Andy Johnson with a 3. He's got 5. 19-10 edge on the boards for UIC. 32-25. Larson over to Quinn. Quinn gives it back to Larson. Larson with 10 on the shot clock. Larson drives. Larson pulls up. Larson misses long. Rebound pulled down by the Flames. Johnson, who just hit a 3, fakes the three this time and will pass it back off to Crawford, who will slow down and run the UIC offense. Crawford, cross-court pass over to Johnson. Johnson tries a corner three. That's no good. And we have a rebound that is out of bounds, and it's going to go over to the Bulldogs. Bulldogs bring it up across the timeline. Larson, alley-oop pass, but a missed dunk. That was an alley-oop to Carr, but he missed the slam. Crawford will try an alley-oop. This one's converted by UIC. 34-25, Flames back up by 9. That's a 4-point swing right there. Goodberry looking for some help, gets it to Shetler. Shetler, cross-court pass now to Larson. Larson, and this is going to be an offensive foul against Drake. Under a minute, first half. Crawford got hung up in the air, and that's going to be called for traveling. Crawford was going to jump pass it and then realized there was nobody where he was going to pass the ball to and came back down with the ball. And it's going to be called for a travel. Fifth UIC turnover of the half. Nice pass inside, and the layup goes in this time for Carr. And UIC, actually, they're right after the basket. They waited about 3 seconds before they inbounded the ball. That way they could kill the shot clock. And run for the final shot of the half. Shot clock is off. We're down to 14 seconds. Crawford with the ball, now down to 10. Crawford looking to drive. Crawford gets it now. The jumper, that shot is blocked. We're going to have a foul, though, with a second and a half to go in the first half. That'll send Mecky Lowry to the line as he was going up for the shot. Isaiah Carr. I thought it was Carr that picked up that foul. Free throw by Lowry, short. Second free throw, no good either. And that is how the first half will come to a close. 34-27 at the half. UIC leading Drake. UIC is 20 minutes away from their first ever berth in the Arch Madness Championship game. The Bulldogs will have to come from behind if they want to keep their hopes alive for a fourth consecutive Arch Madness Championship. (34-27) our halftime score. UIC is in front of Drake. Folks, I'm going to pause here for about 8-9 minutes on the live stream. Grab myself a drink here. Be back with you just prior to the second half. We'll run down some first half stats and get you ready for half number 2 to see if it's Drake going to the Arch Madness title game for the fourth year in a row and trying to win their fourth in a row, or if UIC makes the Arch Madness title game for the first time since joining the Missouri Valley Conference. 34-27, Our halftime score, UIC leads. I have a brief pause. I'll be back with you here 8-9 minutes or so. So